everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to 5 Minutes of Awesomism, where Peyton and I share people, places, and things that are working to help turn negativity into awesomism. And today, we are so excited. We have one of our very favorite actors. Like I'm so nervous I can't even talk. And if you know me, I'm a chatterbox. So, Peyton's oldest brother, Paul, is such a diehard Nick Searcy fan, especially from Justified. So for so many years, all I'd hear was Nick Searcy, Nick Searcy. I was like, oh, okay. So I started paying attention to who he is. And now he's like a legend in our house. So to have him on here, he's an award-winning actor. And my son, last night, when I was prepping, I said, Paul, have any idea of things to tell him? Well, he was in Flicka. He was like, he just knew your whole thing. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
I know. So I was like, okay. But I'm just so excited to have you here. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. And then if you could just share some time that you felt like was really a negative situation that turned into a positive opportunity.
Oh, sure. Well, thanks for having me on. Your son, Paul, there obviously has very good taste in acting. But I'm touched and honored that he feels that way about me. I've been very fortunate. I've been able to make a living as an actor for about 33 years, and I call myself retired, but I'm not really. They call me up every once in a while. They won't leave me alone. So I'm getting ready to go do a movie in Georgia at the end of the month, and I continue to work here and there, which I'm very grateful for. I feel very blessed.
Love it.
Nice, cool.
So did you find that like getting into being an actor was difficult?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the thing. When you talk about overcoming some difficult times, I mean, I did a lot of plays when I was a kid at the local university, and I wanted to be an actor, but I had nobody in my family, and I didn't know anybody that had ever been an actor, and so I didn't really know how to do it. And so I went to college and did more plays and just decided to move to New York after college. And I spent 7 years in New York, not really getting much of anywhere. Taking some acting classes, driving a limousine, hanging wallpaper, and then finally I kind of made a living as a legal proofreader for a long time. So it was really kind of a tough few years. And yeah, there were times there that I just didn't think I would ever make it. And then I wound up being married in New York, and my wife and I, when we got pregnant, she really wanted to leave, and we moved back down to North Carolina. And basically, I thought I was just going to go back to school and be a professor or something. But just for extra money, I got a little agent in Charlotte, North Carolina, and just started going out for things and wound up getting a couple of little parts in Days of Thunder. That was my first movie, and a little part in Prince of Tides with Barbara Streisand. And then I wound up reading for a small part in Fried Green Tomatoes, and the director thought I looked mean and stupid, and he read me for the bad guy. And so that kind of gave me enough of a profile that I kind of made a career out of it after that. After Fried Green Tomatoes, I never had to hang any more wallpaper. But there was a long time there when I'd given myself until 33. If I don't make it by the time I'm 33, I'm just going to do something else. And I got Fried Green Tomatoes when I was 32, just under the wire.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I knew you were in Fried Green Tomatoes. It's so funny. I was watching, I think it was Chicago Med. I decided to binge watch one weekend. I'm like, oh my gosh, look who's on.
Yeah, I show up. I did a lot of little guest spots and one-offs and this and that and the other. I mean, I've done a lot of things, but small things, but a lot of them.
That's great. Yeah, I see. This is what we try to promote at Team Awesomism is that never give up. You
Right.
just don't know, and maybe it's not exactly the path that you think, because too many with autism, ADHD, and stuff, their anxiety takes over, and they don't think that they matter or that they can do something, and they can, and they just stick with it, and before you know it, I mean, people ask us all the time, why is it called Team Awesomism? And it's because when Peyton was young, I always told him he had awesomism, not autism, because God made him the awesome one. And the rest of us got stuck being the same. And, he's always kind of taken that as I can do what I want. And, one of my favorite stories is Peyton and I were in a Costco and down near Orlando. And this guy kept with this a gentleman and his adult son were sitting at the table at Costco, and they kept looking at us. And I said to Peyton, I wonder if, I said, do you think he's on the spectrum? Because Peyton, can usually tell fellow spectrum. Peyton goes, yeah. We got up to leave, and the guy goes, excuse me, I don't mean to bother you, but my son sees you guys on social media, and he's autistic. He's on the spectrum, and you call it awesomism. And we go, yeah. And he goes, my son loves that you call it awesomism. And his son jumped up and started clapping and said, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I know. Peyton and I walked out. We were in tears.
Yeah.
Peyton
kept just saying, made me cry. That's great.
Isn't it? It was so. And so I'm like, that's why we decided to do this 5 minutes of awesomism, because we realized in that moment that us just getting on and saying it made a difference. And we want to show everybody who feels like their life is negative to step up and, watch the 5 minutes of awesomism and go, hey, look, there's so many people out there that have overcome hurdles, and they think you're awesome and you can do it. And that's why we do this.
That's right. I mean, when I told my parents I wanted to be an actor, they just looked at me and like, what is that? How do you do that? And the lesson I take from that is that you never know where you're going to wind up when you start going after what you really want to do. You don't know where you're going to land, and it almost doesn't matter, because the journey is all that matters. And as long as you're going after what you want and what you feel like you should be doing, where you wind up is out of your control anyway. And the journey, the path is what really matters. And I've been fortunate. I've enjoyed my journey.
I agree. And that's, Peyton and I never thought, like, when I went into politics 40 years ago, I never thought I would end up doing homeschooling, at being a big homeschooling activist, which I was, because I ended up taking my older children out of school because of this, that, and the third. And my oldest is 40, the one that's, the big fan of you, Paul, he's 40. So I was doing it when people were still in some states going to jail for homeschooling, right? Yeah. And I was standing up, saying, I'm homeschooling my children. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would go into being a homeschooling activist. Right. Peyton is my youngest of 4. Never thought I would be an autism activist. And yet here we are, So you just don't know. And you're right. It's the journey. And people ask me all the time, did you homeschool Peyton because he was autistic? I'm like, no, I was homeschooling for 14 years before Peyton was even thought of, Yeah. So you're right. It's the journey. And that's what we try to really promote too, is look, just go with, what you do best, or what works in your life.
And what you would do for free, what you love to do. That's what I tell people to try to pursue, the thing that you love most.
I agree. And thank you so much for coming on here. This was so great. I know my older son is really jealous, because he was like, oh my gosh. And I'm telling you right now, we live in Ocala. If he lives in Orlando, I know if he lived in Ocala, he'd be standing behind us. Like, I know he would.
Like, you just want to come onto this podcast.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah. Well, tell him to start a podcast and I'll come on it too.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Nick Searcy.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you, Peyton. Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.